check in online, absolutely. So my name is Lorna and I'm the Regional Manager at the University of Warwick, and I am responsible for all student recruitment in North and South America, Europe and Central Asia as well. And what I've got here is a presentation for you today. In general, a little bit about the University of Warwick, some of the advantages of studying on campus, a little bit more about our courses, but it can also apply to a little bit about the UK in general as to the different sort of ways that you can study, a little bit of understanding about the different grading systems that we might ask for in the application process, and a little bit about life on campus as well. So I'm hoping that the presentation will last for around 40-45 minutes, and then we should have some time for questions at the end of it, if that's all right. Lovely. Great. Oh, no?
Just wait.
Great. So I don't know how many of you have heard about the University of Warwick before. We're not, possibly as well known sometimes as, say, the University of Oxford or the University of London, because our university is not from a big city. But we are just as good as many of those universities. So we were formed in 1965, so we are now 55 years old. But within that time, we have gone up through all of the different rankings, and we are now in the top 100 in the world, top 10 in the UK, and we're really proud of where we've got to in our 55 years, considering that other universities, it's taken them many hundreds of years to get up to that level. So we've done very well for our time. We are a campus university, which means that everything is very walkable and all within one place. So it's a really nice community. You will bump into your friends a lot more. I'll talk about why I love campus a lot more later on in this presentation. Because we're quite a young university, we are quite entrepreneurial and forward-thinking, and we produce students, that can go into the world and adapt to the constantly changing workplace and different challenges that the world presents to us from day to day. We're very international, so over a third of our students come from outside of the UK, from over 140 different countries. We're also a research-led university. So what that means is that a lot of the research that we do and a lot of the academics that we employ who teach you also do a lot of research for the university, and that research is classed as either world leading or internationally excellent. So it's a really high quality level of research, and that research naturally filters down into what you're learning about. So if you're learning about a particular theory in economics or law, for example, then you will learn that, okay, this is the theory, but this is how this academic applies it to their work. So you're learning not just what it is, but how it can relate to different sections around the world. And that sort of style of learning is really attractive to employers, because you can show that you can take what you've learned and use it in different situations. So that's a really beneficial way of learning. Our degrees are very flexible, and I'll talk about them a little bit more later. And you've got very strong career prospects as well. So many of the top UK and international recruiters are more than happy to come onto our university campus and to meet with you, so you can get some ideas about what you might want to do once you've finished your degree. No, not that one. So, hello, please have a seat. Hi. So I've already mentioned that we've done very well in the rankings recently. So top 100 in the world, top 10 in the UK. And I've mentioned a little bit about how many of our employers will come to university. So we have at least 300 different employers coming onto campus from various different employment backgrounds. So we'll have different careers events held throughout the year. And some students might think, oh, we're based right in the centre of the UK. I need to be in London. That's where all of the activity and all of the excitement happens. We're only 1 hour from London on a train, and because all of the employers know the quality of the students that we produce at Warwick, they're more than happy to come onto our campus and to meet with you and to talk to you about any opportunities that you've got. So, you know, it's a really nice environment. So we have about 27,000 students on our campus. So the campus itself is like a small city, really, you know, with that many students living there, and very international approach as well. I've already mentioned 1 hour from London, and we're quite close to the second largest city in the UK, which is Birmingham. I'm very fond of Birmingham. That's where I grew up. It's where I'm from. So it's a brilliant city, very multicultural, lots of shopping, lots of really, really nice restaurants and things for you to explore. We have 29 different departments, so lots of different degrees that you can study from, and lots of postgraduate research centres for doctoral studies as well. So obviously we do various different types of study at the University of Warwick. We do a foundation programme, which is pre-university. We do our bachelor's degrees, or what we call our undergraduate degrees. We do master's degrees, and we do doctoral degrees as well, so PhDs. This is a list of the departments that we have within the bachelor degrees area, so our undergraduate studies. So you can see there are 3 different faculties that we have: arts and humanities, science, engineering and medicine, and social sciences. But what you'll find is that actually you can do joint degrees or even more courses all added in one degree if you like. So you can do economics on its own if you're interested, or you can do history and politics, or you can do something like PPE, which stands for politics, philosophy and economics, or something called MORS, which stands for maths, operational research, statistics and economics. So there are lots of different ways that you can mix and match your degrees throughout the time. Some of them you could do half and half, so 50% in one, 50% in another, but they're also flexible so that if you find actually I prefer one more than the other, you can drop back a little bit on one subject and end up doing maybe 75% with the subject that your favourite is. So, you know, it does give you a lot of choice. We also have yes.
So usually the undergraduate is 3 years course.
Yes, that's right. The undergraduate is 3 years.
Something it's usually 4 years or 5 years.
No. If it's a joint degree, then you do half a degree in one and half a degree in another. So it's still 3 years. It's still 3 years. Okay. Yes. Yeah. But we also do some what we call interdisciplinary degrees. So things like global sustainable development, liberal arts, and these will bring in learning from lots of different departments. So you get a more holistic approach to what you're learning. For our undergraduate courses, it's typical that students will be doing international qualifications in order to get onto the courses, so things like A-levels or the International Baccalaureate. We've got all of the different equivalencies for those. If you're at a school that does a different international qualification, for example, the French Baccalaureate or the German Abitur, then we can give you help and advice on those different topics as well. So for master's degree studies, then again, you've got the different courses that we offer within this sector. You'll find there's a couple of additional courses in here now that weren't available for your bachelor's degree, courses such as WMG, which stands for Warwick Manufacturing Group, do a lot of courses linking engineering and business, entrepreneurship, innovation, those sorts of areas. But you'll also find that some of these courses, you know, are a carry on from the bachelor's degree. But I've got a prospectus with me, and you can find out a list of all of the courses on our website if you click on that study page that we've got there on the link. So how do you know which course is right for you? So I've already mentioned that within the undergraduate degrees, you've got single honours or joint honours. But what about if you were looking for a master's programme in business or management? There are lots and lots of different courses out there available that you could look to focus on. So I picked out every course that we have that has either business or management in the title, and we've got a lot of different programmes. So 24 different master's programmes that you can take that will incorporate either business or management. So don't just think about I have to do an MBA or something. There's a lot of different courses in there that might have a slightly different focus, just depending on what you're interested in. And then we also have other things as international trade and law and different things like that. So there's lots of different courses. So it's really important that you do your research and have a look at all of the different courses that you could look at, because you might find one that you've never heard of before that turns out to be exactly the right course for you. How do you research what is the right course for you? Well, rankings come in very useful. So obviously Warwick is very good in the university rankings, not just as the university as a whole, but also for a lot of the subject rankings. So if you have a look on the QS rankings, for example, you will find that they've got overall rankings, but also rankings by subject. So you can find out, okay, not only is this university good, but it's especially good in finance or economics or mathematics. So actually at Warwick, we have 12 of our departments that are listed in the top 50 in the world in our different subject rankings. And that would include economics, it would include politics and international studies, mathematics, history. So again, that gives you a chance to have a look in a little bit more detail about the sort of courses. By having a look on websites as well, you will find out whether you like the setup of the course. So you can have a look on the different modules or classes that you can study. So for example, if you were studying, I don't know, history, for example, it's such a wide subject. So you'd need to make sure that the classes that you're learning incorporate the area of history that you're most interested in. So if you really like medieval or old history, you don't want to apply for a course that's only got classes in modern history, for example. So you need to have a look in more detail at the website to make sure that the classes that you can choose really match what you're interested in studying. Here I've taken an example of our politics master's degree, of sort of the different core modules that you can take. And actually the one that's in pink over on the far left-hand side of the course of the screen for you, that's the only module that you have to take in this master's programme. All of the rest are up to you for you to choose from this great big list of other modules that there are. So it really shows you the variety and the way that you can shape your master's degrees to fit your own interests. So again, you know, doing your research at this early point is a really useful way to make sure you're applying to the right places. So what do we look at for master's studies for entry requirements? So I've mentioned a little bit about undergraduate courses, and it's normally based on the exam results that you take at school. But for any of you that are interested in master's studies, if you are looking on the UK website, you will probably find that they have some entry requirements that look a little bit strange, that you've never heard of before, because we use a different grading system in the UK than you do in Mexico. Hello, nice to see you. So in the UK, we use a grading system that's called a first class, a 2-1, a 2-2. But we will also tell you a bit more about what we require within those courses. So for example, if you're interested in studying economics as a master's degree, we will have a look through your transcripts of what you've studied for your bachelor's degree to make sure that you've got enough modules in micro and macroeconomics, econometrics, to make sure that we know that you can cope with the rigours of the course. Other courses such as politics, it's much more general. We just want to know that you've got a good 2-1 degree, but your personal statement is really, really important and focused on why you've applied to this programme. So to give you an idea of of how that grading works in Mexican terms, if we're talking about an average out of 10, a first might be a 9 out of 10, a 2-1 might be an 8.5 out of 10, 7.5 for a 2-2. So we have our own equivalences, but every university will have slightly different equivalences. So you should always check on the university websites as to what you think is equivalent. You also need a level of English language when you come to the UK, obviously. For undergraduate students, if you take International Baccalaureate or French Baccalaureate, then we can use the English within your examinations in order to progress onto those. For master's students, I've given the equivalences here. So different bandings are for different courses. So you will find that, for example, if you wanted to study mathematics, it's less essay-based than, say, law. So the level of English might be slightly lower for the more scientific courses compared to the more social science-based programs. So we have different levels of English, but we accept many, many different tests to accept onto that.
For example, for economics, which
Yes.
is the level?
Level A, so 6.5, yeah, for economics. Yeah, it's a bit of an anomaly. You'd expect it to be 7, but it's 6.5 because it's also quite a mathematical program for that one.
The same for subjects like communication, languages, 6.5. 7.
It will vary depending on what you're doing in the languages, to be honest. So yeah, I can talk about individual ones a little bit at the end of the recording, but yes.
I have a question regarding that grading.
Yes.
That you have in the UK.
Yeah.
For example, in my bachelor's degree, I have 85% score average throughout the entire. Yeah. But I'm pursuing a cybersecurity postgraduate program. So how do I match? Because this is a question that I've been asking myself, and also Innova. So how do you assess the subjects that I took in my bachelor's degree, and you match those subjects?
Yeah.
If I miss the requirements.
So we have a look at all of your transcripts and everything that you ask for, and each of our courses will have a little description at the top of them to say what they look for in courses. And I think we've been in email contact, haven't we? So I've got a more detailed answer, but I'll give that to you at the end of the webinar, if that's okay. Thanks. Right. So yes, so those are your more academic requirements when you apply. But for a good university like the University of Warwick, we receive many, many more applications than we have places to give. So, for example, we receive at least 80,000 applications every year for about, I don't know, 5 or 7,000 places. You know, so that's an awful lot of applications that we receive. So, how do we decide which applications we can make an offer to and which we can't? So obviously the academic requirements are a necessity, but most students that will apply to the university will have already done their research and thought, yes, I've got that score, I'm going to submit my application. And it comes down to the personal statement, and this is the same at any level of study that you're looking to do. So it helps us get to know you a little bit more and differentiate you from other people that have similar qualifications in the application programme. We're looking for, to make sure that you've chosen the right degree for you, and that we know that you're passionate about the subject. So you haven't just picked and say, oh, I fancy doing a degree, I'll go for that one. We want to know that you've done a lot more research and that you've put a lot more reasoning in for it. So it's slightly different if you're looking at bachelor's degree or master's degree, because with bachelor's degree, you apply through something that's called UCAS, which stands for Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. And with that, you apply only once, but up to 5 different universities. So we would expect that you apply for similar courses in a related subject, because it'd be very hard for you to apply to French in one university and biology in another, because it'd be hard to make a personal statement that shows your passion about both of these subjects. So we would expect that people applying for similar subjects, and your statement should reflect that. but it's only about 500 words. That's not very long to write your life history in. So you need to be very thoughtful about what are you writing, and always thinking back, how is this demonstrating that I want to study economics at university? So that you always thinking it's demonstrable. Never think about repeating what you've already said elsewhere on your application form. We've got separate sections for your qualifications, for your personal details. You don't need to relist your exam results in your personal statement. That's a waste of words. So it's about everything else that you can tell us that's suitable for you at university. Every single application will be read. So, think about it very carefully. For postgraduate students, it's a little bit different because you apply directly to a university for this one. So instead of one application goes to 5 courses, one application to 1 university. So in this sense, a master's student can be a lot more focused on that specific course rather than being a bit more general in just talking about the subject of economics in general. As an undergraduate student, you can really look at the different courses, the different classes that you'll be taking, and really explain what you're hoping to get out of the course, what skills you've already got that will bring to the course. Don't forget that you're going to be in a group of very highly intelligent students all around you from a good university, and we want to use your experiences to bring to life the subject. So we want you to have the confidence to say, oh, well, in cybersecurity, for example, the situation in Mexico is this. So someone else from Germany or Nigeria might be saying, oh, well, in my country it's this. So you get in a more international understanding of the subject matter from your fellow students as well. So we're looking to know that you can give something to the subject as well as learn from our academics as well. So tuition fees, for our master's students, you're looking at between £21,000 and £27,000. If you're looking for a business school course or an MBA, then more. There are scholarships, and I'll talk to you later about them. For undergraduate students, you're looking at between £20,000 and £25,000 normally. We have 2 different bandings for each of our courses. So band 1 will be more arts-based and social science-based courses, and band 2 is your more scientific courses because of the extra laboratory costs and those sorts of things that are involved in it. So Warwick, as I've said before, we're outside of London, which means that the cost of living is naturally cheaper than London. In London, you're looking at least 50% higher living costs than around where Warwick is. So you do save a significant amount. And I've broken down some of the different costs that students might want to encounter during their years. For undergraduate students, you would normally live on campus in your first year and then move off into the local area for years 2 and 3. For master's students, because your degrees are just 1 year, you can either apply to live on campus or live in the local area, which is just a short bus ride away. There are different costs if you're living on or off campus, but overall it's roughly the same where you're living, and Warwick has a lot of accommodation, houses and halls of residence that are on very good bus links to take you to and from the campus if you're living off campus for the university. This is a very general average cost. So obviously if you eat ribeye steak every night, it's going to be more expensive, or if you go out partying every night, it'll be more expensive. But your average student, providing they live sensibly, will be able to live quite well for between £1,000 and £1,100, something like that, per month. So what scholarships do you have? So for undergraduate scholarships, we've only got a couple, I'm afraid. You'll find that most of the scholarships are there for master's level and doctoral studies. But the engineering department has a couple of scholarships for undergraduate students. And we also have a scholarship that's called the Al-Bukhari Scholarship, which you can find on our website. And that is for students interested in either economics, engineering, or the business school. and that is a competitive scholarship where you can get £20,000 over the duration of your time at university. So that will break down to around £6,500 per year that can be taken off your tuition fee costs. There are more scholarships available for master's students, as I've mentioned. So there will be some departmental scholarships, and they will be between 20, and the School of Law offers some 100% full fee scholarships. The majority, I would say, is between 20 and 50% discounts from your tuition fees. Some of them require an additional application form. Some of them are automatically considered. So normally you apply to the university, and then you can apply separately for a scholarship if you feel you deserve one. The business school will consider scholarships automatically, and you'll know at the time you get an offer of a place if you've got a scholarship as well. Does that make sense? Good.
Right?
Yes, most scholarships are based on merit. Yes. There are some departments that will give an automatic discount to all students from Latin America. So, for example, the WMG, which is Warwick Manufacturing Group, does cybersecurity, and the Life Sciences Department, for their master's studies, offer an automatic 20 or 25% discount to all students from Latin America, because we like you. So that one is automatic. But then if you're looking at a higher scholarship from those departments where you could get up to 50% discount, that is a competitive merit-based scholarship that's based on your academic ability and a short statement about why you feel you're deserving for this scholarship as a student.
Which is the problem for orange student scholarship?
Well, it will depend on the department. So most of them, sorry?
In economics, for example?
For economics, they're automatically considered. There's a handful of 25% scholarships for economics. They're automatically put forward by the course selector. So it's different depending on different programs. Yeah.
I have a question. If I apply for CONACYT, can I also get another discount?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you can mix and match your funding. We're more than happy for you to do that. Chevening Scholarship, if any of you are aware, that's one offered by the British Embassy, and that's quite a long application process that goes from August right until June the next year. So that's a long process for students to go, but it's a very good scholarship, but extremely competitive. But if you fancy a challenge, you're more than welcome to apply to it. And then Warwick also has some agreements with a number of funding bodies within Mexico. So our funding discounts might be between 20 and 50% tuition fee discount. Our business school and WMG offer a 50% tuition fee discount for any students that get FUNED CONACYT or who take out a FIDER loan. So that's fantastic news for any students interested. For all other departments, for postgraduate, masters or PhD level, it will be a 20% discount. But as we've said before, if your department gives you a 50% scholarship and you've got, the FIDER, then you would get the highest amount of that scholarship. So if you get a FIDER that gives you 20%, but your department has given you 50%, you would get that 50% discount in total. So you can add them on together.
So what's the percentage discount that is given by CONACYT? Is it 30% or?
For CONACYT, yes, you're right. It's 30% for CONACYT, but for some departments, it's a 50% tuition fee discount as well. So yeah. But other ones will vary depending on the level of funding. So yeah.
Okay.
But we do have agreements with all of those because they know we're a good university, and we know that students that can get those scholarships must be academically brilliant, so we're willing to offer them a scholarship as well. So this is what our university campus looks like. So you can see it's a very green campus. It's all very walkable. So our campus on a map might look quite large, and yes, if you were walking from the very, very far end to the other, it might take you 40 minutes to walk from one end to the other. But the central area of the university is no more than 5 or 10 minutes walk to get anywhere. So as a benefit of campus, then you're more likely to bump into your friends a lot more frequently. There are lots of coffee shops, and you really feel like you belong to the community within that time. So you can walk around and take advantage of all the different things on campus. Because we're not in a city, we've worked really hard to make sure that we've got everything that students need on campus. So we have a supermarket, hairdressers, a doctor's surgery, a pharmacy, a cinema, a theatre, a huge new sports centre that's got swimming pool, climbing wall, gym, banks. So, restaurants. We've even got a nightclub on campus. So, it really is everything that you need in a small city. So the students will, sometimes if you live on campus, you'll think, oh my word, it's been a week and I haven't left campus, because everything that you need is close by. And then you should go off and remember that there's a bigger world out there, but you've got everything that you need on the campus.
As soon as it hits a certain space in the video, it disconnects. So I will just skip.
We'll just move on to the next one as well. I've already talked about it.
Okay, yes, I'll do that.
So the advantages of campus then. So as I've mentioned, it's a really nice community that you've got within that time. You'll bump into your friends. The fact that in the UK, most students will move on to university or very close to it, rather than perhaps here in Mexico, you might stay in the same city, but because the city is so big, it might take you a couple of hours to get across the city to get to the university. In the UK, most people will move to a different city and therefore live around the campus to become fully involved and encompassed within university life. So therefore, there's a lot more opportunities of student clubs and societies and other things to be really involved, make new friends, and everyone will be there. Most people will be in a new city for the first time, new halls of residence for the first time, and everyone will be learning together. So it's a really nice way. Our campus is really safe. So in the UK, you don't have gated university campuses or anything. They're open campuses. Anyone can walk in, although the vast majority of people, of course, will be students. We do have security patrols, but they're there in the background. It's not an invasive security team, but they're mostly there if you've locked yourself out of your room, or if someone sets off the fire alarm by burning some toast or something like that. But they're also first aid trained and can deal with any emergencies on campus. Obviously, you still need to be sensible, as you do anywhere in the world, but it's a very safe university. And the final benefit of a campus, by being a top university, we do attract students that want to learn, that want to get the most out of their time. So again, all of these intellectual networks or the academic clubs and societies that you can join, and I'll talk about those a little bit later, you're just naturally surrounded by other people that want to learn that subject and have the interest. So you can really get into the details of that subject very, very easily. So we're a very supportive university. Now, I understand that, the first week or so of moving to any new university, it's very crazy, that you're being told lots of new things, everything is new experiences and new things to know about. And you will be told about this whole list of different support networks, but no doubt you will forget about the majority of them because you're too busy having fun and learning your way around campus. But these networks are always here for students, and all you need to do is ask, and someone will be able to point you in the right direction. So everyone at university will have a personal tutor, and your personal tutor will be somebody from your department, and they will be an academic that will be there as your mentor in a way throughout the whole of your degree. So either a 1 year for masters or 3 or 4 years for a bachelor's degree, and they will have meetings with you at different times throughout the year just to check that you're doing all right, you know what you're doing, you're not too worried about anything, All of the academics are really approachable and friendly. They want you to go and ask them questions. They will all have times on their doors to say, I am free at this time every week. You know, if you'd like to come and ask me any questions, just drop me an email and, you know, we can have a time to chat about it. So all you need to do is speak up and you'll find someone that can give you the support that you need. We also have, you know, so many international students. So we're very experienced at knowing, you know, whether there's homesickness or people struggling by doing a degree in a language that's not your first language. But don't forget that lots of people are, you know, undergoing the same struggles, and we do everything that we can to support you, you know, and you can ask your tutor, you can go to the department, and there are different opportunities for you to get additional support where you need it. So just ask and we'll be able to help you. We have a lot of different learning spaces around campus. Now, a building that I can't show you on the presentation, but I'll show the people in the room later on. I've got a picture of it. It's called the Oculus building. That is a learning and teaching building that we've had built specially on campus. And that is for absolutely anyone at the university. We've got lecture theatres, seminar rooms, group study spaces, individual study spaces. It's a really nice environment for anyone to go and do their work. You know, they've got nice comfy seats if you want to relax. There's a cafe, obviously, so you can keep caffeinated during your studies. But it's for anyone from different departments to go and research, you know, so there are lots of nice spaces on campus. For our postgraduates, we try and create a nice postgraduate community for you. Obviously, you're only on campus for a year, so we want to try and help you, you know, form your connections as quickly as possible. So we have a number of different graduate studies only areas on campus where you can go just for a bit more quiet and dedicated study space. And we also do a number of sort of postgraduate learning opportunities and socialising for you throughout the calendar, where you can go and meet fellow postgraduate students, have a cup of coffee, get to know other people and ask any questions that you might have. So there's, again, a lot of support for everyone. So I've touched on things like clubs and societies a little bit, talking about the campus as a whole. But what I've put on here is just a selection of some of the different student clubs and societies that we have at the University of Warwick. We actually have over 250 different student societies, and they could be broken down into academic societies. So there will be an economic society, there will be a history society, there will be a PPE society, there will be cultural and religious societies, there will be music and drama societies, there will be charity and volunteering societies, there's a Game of Thrones Appreciation Society, there's a Chocolate and Cheese Appreciation Society. So, you know, we have some really fun ones, but a lot of the academic societies, they're very serious in what they do, and they're very, very well organised. So although they're all run by students, they may well offer evening events where they will get people from the sector in to come and talk to you, networking opportunities. They might give a talk about a subject that you're learning, and it just helps build your understanding surrounding your subject. So they're really useful to go along to. We have Warwick Entrepreneurs, TEDx for public speaking. We have Model United Nations. In the economics department, we've got something called the Economics Summit, which is a 2-day conference that's run entirely by students that belong to that society, where again we get top economists and speakers coming in, you know, to do sessions throughout those days. And if you're involved on the organising committee of one of those, the opportunities and the benefits to your CV are fantastic, really. So it's really something you could think about doing in your spare time. And we also are trying to be a very fit and active campus as well. So this is a picture of our lovely, lovely new sports centre. You can't really see this. Well, you can see the scale a little bit, I suppose, with the people, but it's about 4 stories high. It's massive. Inside those glass fronted areas is a great big climbing wall that students can do. We've got a swimming pool. Our gym has 280 different bits of equipment. We've got martial arts and dancing and yoga studios. We've got tennis and badminton, netball pitches, squash courts, as well as all of the outdoor football and rugby and cricket pitches as well. And again, there are lots of different sports clubs that you can get involved in. Now, with the sports clubs, you know, the ability of our students will vary an awful lot, but it doesn't matter what your ability is. If you want to try something new for the first time, do it. That's what university is about. Or if you already play competitively and you want to keep it up more seriously, then you can try out for one of the more competitive areas and maybe play against the different universities around the UK in our league. Or we might have different departments, you know, so there might be a football match between economics and physics or something like that, so you can join in those. So there are lots of different opportunities for you to get involved and you know, enjoy some of the spare time. You will see that campus is also very green, so it's got really nice cycling routes, really nice running routes, walking routes, lots of ducks and lakes and everything. So it's a really nice way to get away from some of the hustle and bustle that you'll find in everyday campus. So just to finish up from what we've gone over then, so obviously Warwick is one of the top universities in the UK, top 100 in the world. Your style of learning will be very research-led. We have our flexible degrees allow you to really build based on your own interests and your own, you know, particular journey that you'd like to go on. We have a lot of careers and graduate careers companies coming to visit you, so you can have a lot of work with your CV, with interview techniques, and whether you want to try and stay in the UK or work somewhere else in the world, our careers team can give you a lot of support on that. There are some funding opportunities. It's dependent on your level of study. Campus is lovely, and we have some nice specific areas depending on your level of study, so undergraduate and postgraduate learning areas. And that's the overview. So thank you so much for listening. If anyone is around online that lives in Mexico City that wants to come and meet me at the QS Fair on Monday evening, I'll be at the Sheraton Maria Isabel on Reformer, so do come along and meet me. But now we'll open it up to any questions that we've got around. So thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Any questions here in the room?
Sorry, we came a little late.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm not sure whether you covered before we came in about the application deadlines.
So the application deadlines will
specifically